right, everybody, we're back for another Reup Productions podcast. Today we have Luke Blahnik with at Properties.
Correct.
I was telling you earlier that I usually mess up everyone's name, so we figured it out.
Well done, Bobby.
Thank you. How you doing today, man?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. So kind of talk to me. How did you get into real estate? Was it your calling?
No, no family members in real estate, no legacy. Kind of got into it in college, took an internship with a home builder in college, and ultimately took a full-time position in real estate, selling homes for the nation's largest home builder out in the suburbs. Pre-crash, terrible timing, left briefly after the market crashed and all of the jobs evaporated, went into professional consulting, and spent about a year and a half there, realized that I wanted to be in real estate, came back to Chicago, got my license, started my brokerage, and the rest is history.
Oh, nice. Good for you. How did the consulting go for you? What were you consulting about?
I was doing healthcare consulting at UCLA Medical Center, teaching people how to bill and collect money more efficiently. So, a total departure, kind of like management process, a lot of spreadsheets, a lot of Excel, pivot tables, and just kind of like drilling into data. Yeah. So good experience, translated nicely to real estate, kind of like added a professional element, a communication sort of crash course and how to email thoughtfully and succinctly. Yeah. And I think that's been helpful in the career.
Yeah, I was talking to someone the other day where they were like, they're an operations person before they got into real estate, and they were like, that was kind of my superpower, is that I had an ability to kind of create systems and processes. Is that something similar that you kind of felt with it?
I think you notice the brokers who came from professional backgrounds, right? Yeah. When you're in a deal. I don't think it's requisite. I don't think you have to have it. You can just be kind of all touchy-feely and no real systems, and you can get by. But to me, it's helpful. If you want to grow and scale and serve a certain level of clientele, having systems and communication practices that I was fortunate to learn in consulting, and others learn through accounting or programming or whatever, any other field. I think it does translate to making you a more professional real estate broker.
Yeah, which is good for the real estate broker industry as a whole, I think.
Yeah, I think sometimes maybe the industry suffers from a lack of professionalism, or at least a perception of a lack of professionalism. Yeah. And I think it's changing, and I do think that over time it sorts itself out. Like the brokers who are more professional. I say this as I'm wearing a crew neck sweatshirt.
It's a very nice one, at least.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I do think though it sorts itself out, and the industry needs it. And we're seeing changes industry wide that are about like being clearer about commissions and making sure the consumers understand better what they're getting. And I think all of that leads to the industry is going to need to be more professional. You're going to need to disclose up front and have candid conversations with buyers about your value proposition and what you bring to the table, as opposed to just like, oh, my cousin or my aunt is going to represent you because it's free. It's not, it never was, and now we know that it's not.
Right.
So, yeah.
What about that, does that excite you? I feel like some people I've talked to, the ability to kind of differentiate themselves within the market and how it may be changing. Is that something that excites you? Because I'm sure you already know what you bring to the table. And now I think it's going to really weed out how other people are.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems to me like a little sensationalized. Like there's always opportunity in change, right? Okay. And so if you can lean into change and embrace it and make sure that you're staying with it, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But I don't really believe the headlines on either side. I don't believe that nothing's going to change and that everyone's going to be fine, because everyone's not going to be fine. But I also don't believe people saying, oh, half of the brokers are going to leave the market. They're not. What are they going to do, right? No, everyone's a real estate broker here, and there will be large change that will come, and then people will adopt the new systems, and that's going to be the new norm. And then that's the norm. So, fine, overall good. We want to protect the consumer. It's our job. Like they are fiduciaries of us, meaning when you represent a client, you have to keep their financial interests in mind.
Right.
And I think like the commission change brings that conversation to the forefront and going, was that always the case? Do you have a larger obligation to your buyer clients, to your seller clients than you were disclosing in the past? And so it's all good. It's more disclosure is good.
Yeah, I think so too. The more you can be honest and upfront with whoever you're working with, I think that just builds a level of trust and connection, especially when it comes to what they're going to be giving you.
Totally agree. Yeah, totally agree.
So as far as business, when you first got into real estate, what was your overall plan? Did you team up with someone?
Great question.
Did you just go out on your own?
I started buying foreclosures at auction. So
Okay.
really didn't start like as a resi real estate broker. That wasn't the plan.
Yeah.
So I was buying condos and townhomes with some friends. We had raised some money and contributed some money. We were buying foreclosures at judicial auction downtown and then lightly rehabbing them and selling them because the market was in a total free fall and there felt like there was vast pricing disparity between what stuff was selling for at auction and what we could sell it for on the market.
Smart.
So that's where it started, but then
Wow.
it evolved. Like you have an open house at your flip and you meet a client and you get to talking and you realize, hey, I can help you buy, this condo might not be for you, but I can help you buy another condo.
Yeah.
And then friends start calling and naturally, kind of organically, the brokerage grew. And I did that for a few years, just kind of putted along at like a good amount of volume that was enough to pay the bills. And then I met Anthony Flora, who's my business partner now, and he came and joined me at my brokerage then, which was called Blahnik Properties. It was just like a shingle in a little office across the street from Big Star in Bucktown. And then we made the decision to move to At Properties.
Cool.
That was a really good decision for us. At has brought systems and marketing power and kind of supercharged our business, and we've grown tremendously since coming to At. So we've grown a team. We've got a team of awesome brokers. We're based in Logan Square, but we do business all over the city and kind of near suburbs.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, I love that. I love hearing when people take that next step in their business. And I'm sure you worked very hard to be here, but that is just, I love that. I love seeing success stories in all of this.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, it's a leap of faith when you bring in a partner and you decide, and Anthony and I are just super clean about, hey, we're going 50-50 on everything. Let's go.
Yeah.
And it's really empowering to have someone who has your back all the time. And is working as hard as you.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find. And I think I got lucky more than anything with like the best partner. But Anthony brings like an operational side expertise to maybe sometimes me being a little more creative and going and making deals happen. And then you've got this partner who's like just brings it all home, communicates super effectively. Your clients love them.
Yeah.
And now the business has blossomed for both of us as a result of kind of that partnership.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But having a good partner, having my own partner in my own business, it's been key not only to making sure that the work gets done, but the like extra little push of like when things have, because we're still pretty young in our business. So there's been plenty of times, especially early on, where we're like, can we keep going? And it's always nice to have that second person be like, pick you up, give you that little pat on the back.
Even on a deal, specifically, like you're right, broader business, knowing that someone's got you, is super emboldening and just helps you keep going.
Yeah.
I think even like specifically on deals though, real estate deals are weird where you have these little itty bitty
Nuances?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, a deal is maybe a month or 3 months or something like that, but it is high pressure kind of the entire time, and then the deal closes one day and it just goes away. But, deals get tricky, and egos and personalities get involved. And sometimes, like, as a broker, it's hard to separate yourself from the deal, and having a partner who can step in and take over or lend some advice or be a source of kind of like a backstop is super helpful. And, and I think it keeps deals alive and keeps the business running, in a professional manner, which is great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. What so you were saying that you guys kind of have brought, or you're like basically Bucktown Logan, but have you kind of do you see yourself everywhere? Like, do you have your little niche area?
Most of our business is, I would say, is centered around our office, which is in Logan Square. So we go, and we've been a big part of the growth of Logan Square, Avondale, Bucktown, Wicker Park real estate. It's kind of the blue line going northwest, right? So we've got some rental buildings over there, and we've put clients into tons of like 2-flat, 3-flat properties over there. And now we represent some builders who build single family homes over in those areas. So that's probably where we are centered. But we do a lot of business in Lincoln Park. We do a lot of business in Lakeview all the way up to Evanston, and then Wilmette, Kenilworth, Winnetka. Okay. This is kind of where it stops. We get into Lake Forest, and I'm not as comfortable. Same is true on the west. I just moved to Oak Park. So we don't do a ton of deals out there, but we have a presence now. So we'll see if that evolves or changes. But otherwise, city is where we're focused. I really want to be useful when representing a client and knowing the specific area, knowing the blocks on a granular basis. You can name a block in Logan or really any neighborhood on the northwest side. And I'll know all the homes on the block. And I think that's meaningful, having kind of that depth of knowledge of an area is part of your job. And you find generalists in real estate who say, I'll do real estate anywhere. And you might be good at like writing an offer or putting a deal together, but you're not giving your client the full value of knowing exactly what's going on in the area that you're helping them buy or sell.
The pulse of it too. Just like, where's the energy at? Where are these little businesses that are gaining traction? Where's like the new cool spot?
Exactly.
I mean, that to me makes so much sense. Like what you just said, I know plenty of agents that are everywhere, but I think when agents do that to me, like, I haven't bought anything, but I've been in plenty of houses. I think that's what I would want, like as a buyer or seller.
I mean, you're watching building permits. You're all the bar and restaurant owners in the entire area, and who's opening what next and where they're opening it. Like these things move the needle,
especially in Logan, Wicker, Bucktown, Avondale, where it's popping. It's where
and it's going to evolve, right? You're going to buy it one day, and 5 years later, it's going to be totally different. It could be better, it could be worse, but like real estate is this evolving organism. And so to have inklings of what's coming, to me is a superpower, because kind of the direction that it's headed before it actually goes.
You see the future.
In a way, right?
What do you think it's like working with you guys? Like, if I was a potential new buyer, seller, why am I trying to work with you?
I think that it's a great question. We want to make sure we're always bringing value to our clients. And so I think our value comes through granular knowledge of the areas you're working in, a lot of construction background, so understanding the physical asset that is real estate. I'm a licensed contractor. We've built a bunch of buildings. I own a lot of real estate. And so through all of those things, you start to really, through personal experience, understand the entire picture. It's not just like showing pretty condos and picking the one with the prettiest kitchen. You go to the condo building and you walk around the outside of it like an inspector would, and you physically understand, what's it built out of? When was it built? What is the foundation? Do you see signs that there is moisture intrusion at this building? How do the windows look? Are they original? If they're not, why aren't they? And just like, you're not always saying this to your clients.
But you're at least thinking it.
Yeah, that's right. Like, and your job is to be a specialist. Like, your shoulder surgeon doesn't tell you everything they see. They're telling you the relevant bits and pieces, but you hope that they understand the big picture, right? And that's what we try to be, is like understanding the entire picture here and avoiding pitfalls, keeping our clients from buying bad buildings. This is on the acquisition side. And just helping them kind of be the guide on that. So we try to offer more than other brokers might be able to offer in that regard. And the same is true for the sale, just kind of a different skill set, but understanding the broader picture and helping buyers understand specifically what they're buying and why they're buying it. I think is really important. We're always at our showings. We insist upon being there because I think that a lot of value comes from the broker being present when you're selling a piece of real estate.
Yeah, well, and then they continue to get your presence. Like I'd imagine that is so important. Like the continuation of building that one-to-one, like just like, hey, I'm here. Like we're doing this together.
Yeah.
And the more I'm around, the more you feel comfortable that I'm making sure I'm leading you down the right path.
Yeah, I mean, on the sales side, it's weird because you're not aligned with the buyer. You represent the seller.
Right.
So you're at a total opposition for them when it comes to negotiating the price in terms of the deal. But you want to also let them know we're around, right? You're going to see us again, and reputation matters to us, and we're not going to tell you anything that's misleading or make you feel uncomfortable. So yeah, I think you're right. It's super important.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. I love getting to talk to agents and getting to find out their who, their what, their where, and their why, because everyone's a little different, and like everyone like hangs their hat on just like a little different concept. But and I'm really where I'm going is it's so cool because there's so many different ways to do things and be successful and like carve your little piece in this whole thing that's going on. And I love that. Like you're a little more attention to the construction, how it's been built, you know, what all the sizes of everything are and the windows and all that. I love that that's like your like little, I don't want to say niche, but it is something different that you probably bring than someone that's just about building relationships.
Right.
Like I'm here to be your buddy and we're going to be cool. We're going to, and again, just different ways to skin a cat.
You're right. I mean, and it's fun as a broker to interact with like the different personality types that are brokers, you know, and and it's always, each deal's a little bit different, and you get used to, or you see the same people around, and so you start to become familiar with different people, and you know, you understand where other people's values are or strengths are, and you know, you're better equipped to kind of have successful outcomes in transactions as a result. But you're right, it is a wide variety of personalities and strategies that make
part,
up market.
the strategy.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Okay, so I kind of want to go into this next segment, as you'd say, staging.
Yeah.
What about it for you that works? I do have to do the shout out Haven Home Staging for having us. They staged this beautiful property at 1840 North Mod.
Yep.
Love it. I love working with them. Talk about a business that's all about connections, and their attention to detail is outstanding, and I really enjoy working with them. So there's their shout out. Thank you very much,
Thanks, Haven.
But yeah, talk to me about staging. What for you is the reason why you get it, and why is it important?
I'll share an anecdote. So these homes have been under construction for a long time, and we listed these homes before they were finished. So we've been showing it to a lot of people while it's been under construction. You know, and you can show people renderings, and renderings are nice. But we had a lot of showings here and no contracts. This home was staged 2 weeks ago. We had one weekend of open houses, and we have sold both homes. There are two homes being built here. We're in one of them, and the other one's next door.
That's awesome.
And we sold them both from this model that was staged. So, you know, that is an anecdote that shows you the power of seeing a furnished home. And I think specifically Haven. So when I was the rehabbing guy that was resanding floors and painting kitchens, I started working with Haven really early in my career, maybe 15 years ago. And Sherry and Brad and Julie.
You're day one.
Yeah, real early.
Yeah.
And it was a happy accident that we found them. But Haven's been amazing. They're great to work with. They bring great goods. That's to say, they're constantly kind of churning their inventory.
Yeah.
So you're never seeing the same stuff. It's always weird when you walk into a home and you can tell immediately who staged it because you've seen the sofa like 500 times and you've sat on it, and you can imagine how many other people have. And Haven's constantly moving their inventory. So they're having sales every year and selling off the old stuff, and they're buying new stuff. So it looks fresh, it looks relevant, which I think especially in high-end home sales, you need. Like, it's not just about showing that a bed fits in a bedroom. It's about like creating the energy of a bedroom.
How does this feel when I walk into it?
Right. Through the smalls, through the little design objects, through, you know, better sized chairs and a more thoughtful stager. And so you're getting that with Haven. Like, they're a premium staging firm that we love working with.
Yeah, so it's funny you say that. You're totally right about how they keep coming with new items, but I know I have seen a good amount. I can feel like, oh, this is a Haven staged home because I get a very similar feeling when I walk in, and for me, I'm like, we've worked with agents that they've worked with outside of like doing something like this, and I'm like, did Haven stage this?
You can recognize
it. And it just
great.
reminded me because I spend a good amount of times in homes too. So, but yeah, no, I love that about them. I love that how well you can see that they are and like how thoughtful they are because they really are.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking around, like it's everywhere. Every shelf has an item on it. It's not like they're just doing kind of the bare minimum. You feel like they're kind of going above and beyond, bringing way more things than they needed to into the home just because it looks nicer that way. And that's like an act of care that I think is important.
Do you think the ROI on stage? Well, you touched to it in your anecdote that I think you do, but do you think the ROI on staging is there and like you will sell a home?
I think so. Yeah. And it's hard though in a really hot market. I think the value proposition becomes difficult because if you're going to sell a place the first weekend with multiple offers, regardless of what you do, it's hard to justify the cost of staging. But I think when you do it despite the market and you still stage homes and present them as nice as you possibly can, you probably do better on the end sales price. And it's like an act of care that just shows that the home is that much more ready and that you, the seller, were thoughtful enough to take that step to present it in its best way possible. Yeah. It's like make yourself look nice before you leave the house, right? Like, I don't know anything about this, but I heard if you do that, people respond a little bit better to you.
I see it as too, like you never know who came in and saw that open house and then saw that you went that extra effort to do it. Like, it's just another marketing tool for you. Like,
yeah, it kind of tells the buyers like you better come correct because we did.
Yeah,
And
even who knows, like even if someone saw it and they're like, oh, my agent did do that or blah blah blah. Like I feel like that just puts such a good foot forward. I love doing. For me, I like doing a little like go beyond to show people how serious you are about your craft, your art, your job.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, definitely it happens here. Yeah, and ROI to me, you can figure it and does it lead to a higher sales price?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Hard to know, right? But what else does it do? Well, like back to my consulting days, we were all about accelerating revenue. Like how do we get this group paid faster? Because when you get your money earlier, you can do more with your money. And I think that staging is proven that it's going to sell a house faster. So stage it up, even if you get the same price for it, because let's say the comps are the comps and your appraisal is only going to come so high regardless of how well you stage it. Still, if you accelerate your closing from 120 days to 40 days, there's 80 days you just saved with your money, and now you can go deploy it again or pay less interest to your bank or whatever.
Is that the same idea as like, I kind of want to go back, it's a little bit farther back, but is that the same idea of to like you wanted to bring in revenue faster or in quicker, and that's why you were showing this like while it was still technically being built? Was that part of the strategy as well?
Yeah, I think
and if you don't want to go down that road,
it's okay. Like a developer always wants to have a contract to sell their home because you want the certainty that the deal is going to be the deal.
Yeah.
And that you're not building a home that's going to sit on the market for weeks once it's finished.
Yeah.
So acceleration of revenue is probably sort of the impetus for why you show a pre-construction home, because it's harder for the broker, right? You have to show the home, help people visualize it, then have it followed through on. So it's not as easy, but it's just part of your job as a broker is to sell things the way that you're told.
For sure. Yeah, like at the end of the day, I got to do it.
You work for the client.
Yeah.
We recognize that. Some brokers don't believe that. Some are like, you work for me, and it's like, well, I don't really believe that.
Well, that's good. Yeah. I feel like we've touched a good amount about staging. Was there anything else that you want to go on about the staging? Maybe. I know you said you guys actually already sold this because part of this was going to be like, let's talk about the home itself. What are some of its unique features? So I don't think we really need to go down that road, but maybe there's something else you'd want to talk about working with Haven or this home specifically?
Yeah.
Or
Well, the homes are beautiful. So we're in a 4-story, 6-bedroom, 5 full bathroom, half bathroom home, new construction home in Lincoln Park, built by Distinct City, who we've worked with on several deals and really enjoy working with them. It's a beautiful home. They are cabinet makers at their core, the builder. So all the cabinetry, closets, everything is custom built here in their own factory. Yeah, so it's great.
Yeah,
and that's part of the impetus of showing during construction is that they can pivot and make changes last minute simply because they build their own stuff. So that's kind of part of it as well. But yeah, great building. Super cool use of space. There used to be one single family home that sat on this lot.
Yeah.
Tragically, it was lost in a fire, so it was demolished. And then we built 2 homes back here on 25-foot wide lots. So you end up with a really nice wide home that's got beautiful spaces and great outdoor decks and curation, and it's really nice.
It's a good neighborhood too. Cool
Yeah, I mean,
neighborhood.
we're in beautiful Maud Street. We're in Southwest Lincoln Park. So kind of close to the North and Clybourne corridor.
Yeah.
So it's neat. You've got like a green tree-lined street with neighborhood parks and Armitage with all the little shops and restaurants right up the street. And then behind you, you have North and Clybourne, the Red Line, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, all kind of right around the corner. So it's best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything.
Great location.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my final section is going to be about social media, branding, marketing. What's your philosophy on it for you personally in the brokerage? So yeah, kind of tell me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I answer the question correctly because here's how I see social media. I think
There are no wrong answers.
All right, good.
I will just correct you. Don't worry.
Okay, yeah, good. Talking to the social media expert. I think, at least the way I view it right now, is that social media is like the storefront and the lights being on. So I was thinking about it and how you engage with a client, for example. And let's say a client, they might buy a house or sell a house with us every 5 years, and maybe they send us 1 or 2 referrals during that period. But social media, at least to us, has been like just showing people that the lights are on, that we're still here, we're doing business, we're trying to put out some content that lets you know that we're here.
Yeah.
And I think like that's stage 1. And then the next step would be actually producing content that people are going to consume and be entertained by. And, that's where we're trying to make headway into it. And clearly you're doing, for brokers and for the community. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you.
For now, I think like it's just the service is still the service. The real estate deal is still the real estate deal. If you get 1 million views on a single family home that you listed, I've seen it a bunch of times now. It will translate to 0 sales of that home. So it is a part of the conversation, and it's also a great way to meet and connect with new people that otherwise you're just relying kind of organically and hoping that your clients refer you to people.
Totally.
So, I'm excited to kind of see where it can go and the power of it. I've yet to kind of experience that part of it.
Yeah, I think there's 2 types of content that Memo and I talk about. There's the ones that give you views, and that's what you just said. And there's the ones that make you money. And I think the way to make money with social or get leads that then can generate sales, let's say that really, is more of an educational based following or presence.
Got it.
Where you're coming across with your knowledge of, specifically in this house, the cabinets, because you work with someone that builds cabinets. I think that sort of knowledge is what's going to set agents apart. The people want to know that the person they're working with is the expert. Like you are the expert of Logan Square, Wicker Park, Bucktown, Avondale. And you can show that by your knowledge of the area, your knowledge of what's happening in the market. And I think that is how you use social media to be more effective rather than, hey, this closed, this closed, this closed. Well, that's great. And you mentioned like that's a lot of what you guys like to do. I think that's part of it, but it's only one part of the fist, and to me the solid foundation of everyone should be education, and then you can do cool stuff. I'm never about riding trends because
I like it. I mean, to me, like in a way, I think you kind of owe it to your audience. Like if you have the knowledge and it's useful and you're denying it, you're not giving it to people, then like, what are you doing? Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think I'd like to be more intentional about like, being out there a little more. Yeah. Sometimes you're riding around with a client and you'll have a conversation with them and you'll think to yourself, man, like, that should have been, that conversation would be very useful if other people saw and heard it,
That is literally the name of the game.
Yeah.
I try to tell people initially, it's like, what are the top 10 things that your people ask you every day? Like, use your social media to answer that. So people stop asking you that. Mm-hmm. I think that's
I like that.
One of the best ways, especially when you first meet someone.
Yeah.
Say it's a buyer. Mm-hmm. Here's my buying process. Here's a video. Mm-hmm. Here, I'm going to walk you through it. Mm. And so maybe they ask you 4 questions instead of 15 questions.
Right.
And like, now we're saving time. And I think that's where the flip of what people think social media needs to be, this flashy whatever. And no, it's your business. Act like one.
Right.
Let's solve the problems that you keep having, that where you can send 15 people the same buying process video.
Right.
And again, they only have 4 questions now.
No, it's right. I mean, it's a warm introduction that, it might help them choose too which broker, that they're going to work with.
You keep teeing me up, but that's what we call them. Like, they're the warm handshake before you meet. Because you get to feel people's vibes.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's going to be awesome about this. Like, if I was you, I'd use this in an email campaign and just send it to the people who already know you and be like, hey, I just did this awesome podcast. We talked about a bunch of cool things happening and my thoughts, like, about staging, how I can do it better. So I think there's like so many ways to use content that people, I don't know, get scared of.
Yeah.
I think they get scared even of reusing it. It's like, you use that thing. You built something that's awesome.
No, it makes sense. There's just a reservation with putting yourself out there, to the world.
I hate it.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how hard it is, isn't it?
So hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
I'm a creative by nature. I'm a person that sits behind a computer.
Yeah.
But I own my own business, and so I can't do that anymore. Like, I am the face of this. It won't grow if I don't sell it or push it or all of it. You can't hide behind the computer forever, which is my biggest thing.
Yeah. Well, it's good. You're doing good work, man.
I'm trying to.
Yeah. No, it is. I mean, to me, like, here we sit, right? And you're evoking conversation from me that otherwise doesn't go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
And so kudos to you for doing it.
Yeah, and this is, for me, now we've built, this is a cool thing about the long form content, is that we've now built a 30-minute rapport, and I've learned more about you and what makes you tick, and you've learned more about what I think, and that's a great, like, this is, for me, this is all what it's for. And now I can, and then that's just on the personal side.
Right.
It's not even the social, where I'm going to get 15 cuts of this.
Right.
And I'm going to push it out to everyone that I now know you, and that, and you now know me, and that's a vice versa thing that we can do. And that's the power of it. Like, even for you doing long form things, I don't mean to go so
good,
much, because there's what we call this is a business cultivator, or a business just like refresher, building on the relationship. So if we've never met, I get to cultivate a new relationship with you. And if I've already know you, I can have you on the podcast and just be like, hey, how are you doing? And then it's another 30 minutes of us building that connection. And that's really the power of all of us.
Super cool.
Right?
Yeah, I mean,
at least that's the philosophy I have in my head.
Yeah. I think it resonates, and people need it. Talking to the camera without someone asking you and soliciting response is difficult, right?
Sure.
To just stand there and look into the iPhone,
the abyss,
and tell people what you think. And it's just something I don't do.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'll ever be comfortable completely with. So I appreciate the opportunity to sit and do this.
Yeah, no, this is better. And you'll find out this might be for you too. If you ever do something like this, find new clients, find businesses that you want to promote. Those people are the ones that would love it. Like that sandwich shop. And now you get to build that rapport in case you need sandwiches one day. It's just like little stuff like that. So I could go on and on about it, But I think that's the fundamental things of what you should be doing and thinking about when you start to build your brand and like who you are. And then the education and then the fun stuff happens. Or the like if you want to be quirky.
Yeah, right.
But I would never start there. I think that's disingenuous, and you build a crowd of the wrong type of people.
Right. Yeah, you're chasing followers, and you're not chasing real business.
You're not chasing substance.
Yeah.
And then when people are up late at night and they're scrolling and they come across you and you answer one question, they go to your page and now they're swiping, and you just keep selling them again and again and again, and they don't even realize it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Thank you. That's all I got.
Well, great.
Thank you so much for being here. I didn't tell you this. We let people at the very end do a shameless plug.
Okay.
Your camera's that one.
Great.
Tell them where they can, your who, your what, your where, your why. Tell them where they can find you, and that's it.
Yeah, well, if you're interested in working with myself or my partner, Anthony, you can find us at Flora, Flora, Blahnik, Blahnik, on social media, on Instagram and Facebook. Or you can follow me, Luke Blahnik, on Instagram as well. That's the best place to find us, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey,
thanks, buddy.
Pleasure.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.